Alright everyone, I went and got my battery chart. I was actually writing a book at one time on how to do lighting. Never finished it. Got close though. Here we go. 9-volt battery has 565 milliamp hours. Okay. Now, your typical LED is 20 milliamps. So what you do is you take that 565 divided by 20, and I'll tell you how many hours a 9-volt battery will power that LED. Now that's excluding the resistor, and the resistor is going to eat some of that. So roughly, a 9-volt battery will power one LED for 20 hours. 25 hours. 20, 25 hours, somewhere in there. Now, when you go to 5 LEDs, that's 100 milliamps. And we got 565 milliamp hours, so you get 5 hours out of that 9-volt battery on 5 LEDs. That's not too bad. Each of these models is only going to have 5 LEDs in them. So 5 hours for a 9-volt battery isn't too bad, but 9-volt batteries are kind of expensive. That's part of the problem. Okay? Now, I also want to light the display stand. And that's why I was thinking about 9-volt batteries, because some LED tape would be really easy to light that stand and would be kind of evenly lit. But looking at this, I think I might be better off going with some heavy diffusion in there and using 3 or 4 LEDs and some different type batteries. And here's why. A AA battery, a single AA battery has 2,700 milliamp hours. That is 4 times the power in one AA battery. Now if I run 2 AA batteries, that's 3 volts. I won't need resistors on the Cylon because everything's 3.1 volts. So we're under the voltage limit on the LEDs. They'll light up just fine. 2 of these batteries will power the entire thing for 100 hours. 100 hours is 4 days. And that's 2 AA's. You don't even want to think about D's. A D battery is 12,000 milliamp hours. 2 D batteries is 24,000 milliamp hours. So it'll power it for like 50 days. Okay? So you can see why I'm thinking of using a AA or C or a D battery. A C is 8,000. A single C. 2 C batteries. They're common. You can buy them at the dollar store. You can buy 9-volt batteries at the dollar store too, but for the same price, I can get enough batteries to power the thing for 2 weeks. So, I'm probably going to go with AA's or C's. That means that I can't use LED tape in the stands when I go to light the stands. Okay? I don't even remember where I got this battery chart from. I got it off the internet. I just typed MAH battery, MAH, and I found it. And it gives common batteries with their common common lifetimes. Okay? So it's pretty easy. You just take the number of LEDs, multiply by 20, and take the number of the battery, divide it by that number you had earlier. So you take the battery number, divide by 20 times the number of LEDs. And I'll tell you how long it's going to last. Now, if you're using 2 AA batteries, you take 2 times the battery number divided by 20 times the number of LEDs. So if I use 5 LEDs in the stands, 5 LEDs in the model, that's 10 LEDs total. So 10 times 20 is 200. And 2 AA batteries are 5,400 divided by 200. That comes out to be 27 hours. So 2 AA batteries will power 10 LEDs for 27 hours. That's not bad to me. So that's probably the route I'm going to go. I'm just going to use 2 AA batteries. That's what I typically do on most models. I don't use 9 volts. I don't use the wall warts. I haven't made a Star Trek model. There's the kicker, because the back of that thing is going to require something else. Okay? So there you go. I now know what I'm doing. I'm going to use 2 AA batteries. Have battery holders for them. You get them at Radio Shack for $1.50 too. So that makes life even easier. I think I even have a 2C battery thing. which I might use on the Cylon, because that is that's 16,000 divided by 200 is 160 divided by 80 hours. 2C batteries, I can run this thing for 80 hours. Yeah, that's 2 full normal work weeks. What is that? That's like 3 days solid, just left on. 3-4 days solid left on. And I can put a power jack in the base as well, so I can put a wall wart on it. I make selectable wall warts, I think, with 3 volts. Let me check. I got one right inside my cabinet right here. I know they do 5 volts. You'd have to put a power regulator on it to do anything else. Yep, they do 3 volts. This one here, I got at Walmart, does 3 volts. So there you go. You do 3 volts, you can put a power jack in there and have the option of running it on a wall wart instead of batteries. So you can do 2 different things with it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run it that way. So, we got our plan laid out. I got to come up with some resistors for the TIE Fighter. I do not for the Cylon. Okay? So this video is kind of a cross-model video for the two. I'll probably label it as such and post it as such. Okay? So there you go. I'm going to stop with the video and I'm going to actually get to work. And I'll come show you what I'm doing in a little bit. Alright everyone, I drilled those holes by starting with a small drill bit to a medium-sized drill bit. The collets are still on the drill bits, by the way, to a large drill bit. Some of you, I've heard some complaints about the Tamiya Handy drill because the collet that comes with it only holds certain size drill bits. This is true. Go to Amazon.com, type Dremel collets, and buy yourself a set of Dremel collets. They fit in the Tamiya Handy drill. Today's refreshing beverage is Metro Mint Spearmint. Just thought I would add that. Okay? Anyhow, I got the fibers run through this bulkhead now. I'm going to clean up this can. Get myself an LED, solder some leads on it. Since I'm using 2 batteries, I don't need resistors. That is the happy thought. No batteries. I mean, if you're working with 3 volts and you're working with white LEDs, you don't need resistors. So I don't have to worry about calculating resistance for this one. When I get to the TIE Fighter, I'm going to have to worry about resistance on it. So let me clean up this can, pick out my LED, and I'll come back. Alright everyone, I'm about to start wiring the engine pods. You know, these guys. Anyhow, I'll get that part in a minute. And I'm not using your typical standard LED. What I'm going to use is one of these. Actually, 4 of these. You find them on eBay by looking for Piranha LED. They're 4-prong LEDs. 2 prongs are positive, 2 prongs are negative. That's really irrelevant, to be honest with you. I'm wiring them all in parallel, so it might actually make it easier to solder. They fit in the housing here perfectly. In fact, I got half a mind to line them up to verify positive and negative, glue them down, and then solder them. Glue them down with a little bit of epoxy. Okay? And I'm going to have to light block afterwards. So, I'm going to get ready to solder these guys. I got a bunch of them. I'm putting away my standard LED because I'm not using it. I got to find the warm white. Once I find the warm white, I'm going to do all the lighting on the Raider. And then I'm going to stop the Raider for the day and do all the lighting on the TIE Fighter. Because once the lighting's done on the TIE Fighter, I can glue the body halves together and primer it. It's almost done. Okay? So I'm going to stop here. I'll come back and let you see what I've done. One thing I am doing is I'm removing the frosted paint from the insides of the cylinders. It lights up better that way. I'm going to leave the frosted paint on the rest of it, even the imperfections. I think it's going to add to it. It's going to give some randomness to the lighting, so that's why I'm doing it. This camera is going to be the life of me. you've heard me complain about this on a few other videos. I push record, I hear the sound, and it's not recording. That's with the remote. Alright, let me show you what I've done. I got the camera zoomed out, so I'm going to pick up, this is one of the engine units. You can see the LEDs are glued in place. These are the Piranha 4-pin LEDs. 2 pins are positive, 2 pins are negative. It really doesn't matter which of the 2 pins you use for positive and which of the 2 pins you use for negative. It doesn't care. Wiring this to my power supply over here is a challenge. Because I have to wire this, I have to put my alligator clamp across too, without stressing it too much, because I bet it can pop that epoxy if I stress it too much. And then it'll short pretty quickly if I'm not careful. But there you go. We got her lit. I'm going to reach up and zoom. And I can tell the clamp's slipping. Clamps are slipping as I move it. Yes, the negative clamp slipped. I cannot move this much once I pick it up because it's shorting, because the way the clamps are. Okay, but you get right there, you get the idea. It's a little bit more sourcey in person than it is on camera, but I think it came out looking good. I think it came out looking really good. And from the side view, okay, in person you can see the 2 light bulbs. The camera is washing them out for some reason. There we go. If I filter it between my fingers, you can see what it looks like in person. Isn't that funny? If I just filter it a little bit, you can see what it looks like in person between my fingers. But you can see the 2 bulbs in person real easily. Okay? Well, anyhow, you can see what that looks like. That's not going to be hard to wire in the least bit. Now, let's talk about the 2 headlights. So I don't need the camera zoomed as much for them. Oh, yeah, nice close show. Yeah. Nice close up of my mouth. No one wanted to see that. Alright, here we go. I epoxied in that LED into its tube. I epoxied in the fibers on this end. They're not going anywhere. That epoxy's cured up already. Nothing's moving or budging. You cannot move those fibers. They're really stiff anyhow, and they're barely wired in there. So let me give this power so everyone can see it lit up. Okay, now it's got power. You can see the 2 fibers are lit. One's longer than the other because I didn't know how long they had to be when I put them in. I just cut them. Okay, you can see I got a light leak problem. Or do I? Because this part right here goes over the top of that. So all I have to do is put a little bit of black paint right here at either end where that LED is, and there's no way you're going to have a light leak. Okay, now the engines are going to be a different thing. Once I get them wired in, I'm going to have to look and see if there's any light leaking around there, because they do bleed a little bit of light out the back end. What I could do is just spray paint the back of this black. Okay, and that would fix all that once the wiring's done. Just hit it with some black paint. But this is working fine, so all I have to do is solder some wires to this. Once the soldering's done, I'm putting it together and it'll be ready for paint. I could have the soldering done on this within an hour and probably have it ready for paint within 3. So what I'm going to do is stop on this, and I'm going to work on the TIE Fighter and get it to the exact same point. I'm going to get all the soldering done on the, I'm going to get all the fiber work done on the TIE Fighter and get it ready for soldering. I've got 2 out of 6 fibers done for the TIE Fighter, so I'm going to work on the other 4. 2 of those are going to be a challenge because they're tiny and I already put things together and I don't think I can thread them in there very easily. Part of the reason why I put everything together first was, well, I forgot. But you get in that groove of working and you forget a few things. But again, epoxy works. You can tell I'm picking the LEDs up by epoxy. I might have gotten it a little too thick on there and it may not fit in its grooves. That worries me a tiny bit, but we will see in a minute. And Tamiya flat base does come off fairly readily. So keep that in mind after you spray it. It needs to be sealed down somehow. Yeah, that'll be fun to do. All right, I'll be back. You'll see this video before the TIE Fighter video. So you'll know what I'm doing with the TIE Fighter beforehand. Back in a bit. This camera, it's killing me. What I said a second ago is this, that didn't show on video. I don't know if some of you are wondering if I have a project box for the Cylon Raider. I don't, but TIE Fighter I do. Here's my little box for my TIE Fighter. You can see it's in there. It's got paper towel cushioning. The paper towel keeps the parts from moving around. They don't slide and bump each other as I move it. Cylon Raider. What size box do I need for this? Seriously. This? Maybe I should make it a headband. No, seriously. I don't have a project box for this thing. All the parts are too big. Far too big to have a project box. So I'm just not bothering. Okay? I'm not going to lose any of them if that's what I'm not worried about losing any of them. I mean, come on. How am I going to lose this? Carpet monster going to eat it? Doubtful. Alright, be back in a bit. Alright everyone, I found a weak spot on this model, the Cylon Raider. The guns. Really bad. I mean, it might just be mine too. This, here, let me zoom so you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to drop it. Because it's easier this way. Let me move the wings. I'm on round 2 of the putty on the wings. Okay. That's how it goes together. And you see, if when I squeeze it, it just pops right back open. One of the parts is warped. I don't know which one. They're pretty big, substantial parts, and they're going to be hard to unwarp. This one will move, but that one won't. Bending it a little helps it some. The other thing is the barrel's not drilled out. I'm going to have to drill that barrel out, but that's neither here nor there. That part is just warped. The other one was almost as bad, not quite. So what I'm doing is I'm getting out some Irwin clamps. These are for woodworking. I mean, the clamp is huge. It's for woodworking. I bought a couple of them just on a whim and put them in my hobby room. Well, I'm going to get to use them on a model for the first time ever, because I want this clamp together and left overnight. So in the morning, when I come back up here, you know, tomorrow I got a busy day, so it'll be tomorrow evening when I come back up here. So when I come back up here tomorrow, I can undo the clamp and it should be fine. I'm being liberal with the Tamiya orange too. Liberally. Well, look at that. I put the Tamiya orange on it and it just goes together. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe I'm threatening it with the clamp, but it's getting the clamp. Alright, it's clamped. And it is clamped this way till morning. Maybe some of you can channel your inner Futurama and remember the clamp. The clamp! The clamp! BB kind of smiles. Alright everyone, just wanted to share that. This is the last video of the day.